Waste management is one of the most crucial universal problems at present. This is attributed to the rapid population growth in the world, intricate living styles, and pace of urbanization. So then how do we curb this issue of waste management? Join me. With me here is the CEO of Circularity that deals with waste management, Eric Muricha. Maybe to start you off, what is the problem with poor waste management?
So as you can see, Nairobi is in a crisis. Africa in general has a big garbage problem. And the problem stems from we have a poor waste management culture because our parents, our grandparents, they didn't have the problem we're having today. Landfills are full, like the Nairobi Dandora dump site. It's been full since 2001. But to this very day, it's still in use. So with the landfill full, where do people resort to? People dump their waste in abandoned buildings, in streets, in rivers. Some of them just decide to burn their waste in the streets. The problem with this, it's the pollution and visible waste popping up everywhere.
Yeah. So in Kenya, we have a legitimate check-in component for waste management. That is the municipal council. Do you feel like they're doing enough to address the problem?
Well, according to NEMA, only 40% of waste is accurately collected and taken to the Dandora dump site. That's, for example, in Nairobi. Out of the total waste collected, 20% goes unaccounted for. Like, people don't know where this waste ends up. This is the waste ending up in rivers and going down to our oceans. And that, even if that's, the checking point system has been there for a while. However, we're still having this waste crisis. Waste is everywhere and it's affecting where we stay, it's affecting our ecosystem, and worst of all, when it ends up in the ocean and it's eaten by fish, we end up eating the fish that has eaten our waste.
Yeah.
So in short, we're just destroying our bodies, our environment, and the climate.
So your objective is coming up with a model or a system that will help in segregating the collection process and waste management issue. What is this system that you've come up with that will curb the issue of waste management in developing countries? Let's start with Kenya.
Well, they say one man's trash is another man's treasure. The same applies to garbage. You see, if you are able to collect plastic waste, you can sell that to recyclers. If you're able to collect disposable diapers, for example, there are people who are using disposable diapers to make fuel. If you're able to collect organic waste, you can turn that into compost and sell organic fertilizers to farmers. This is where we come in. We've built a smart bin that is able to identify, sort, and pay users for their garbage. So we are literally turning trash into cash.
Okay. What is a smart bin? Can you demonstrate to us how it works?
Okay. So behind us we have the smart bin. How it works is you need to be registered. You can either do that by downloading our mobile app. It's called circularity.space, or you can just register with your phone number. So if you don't have a smartphone, you can still use the bin. How it works is, after you register, you approach the bin, you key in your user ID. To use the bin, you first have to register, and you can do this by downloading our mobile app. And if you don't have a smartphone, you can also use your phone number as your ID. How it works is you approach the bin, you key in your ID number. For the bin to open up, you put in your bottle, and you are going to get points that you can redeem for cash or for discounts on products.
This is really nice. So how sustainable is the smart bin? And what sustainable development goals do you align yourself with?
Okay, so the big garbage problem facing Africa, it's the over-reliance of landfills. What the smart bin does, it allows, well, people can sort waste at source, and instead of this garbage ending up in landfills or just being thrown away, it's taken to recyclers or manufacturers who need this waste as raw materials in their production cycle. What the smart bin does, it monetizes waste, so people can earn a passive income from the garbage they put out. Then in return, we collect this waste, sell it, and then pay back our users. How sustainable it is, Africa has the big garbage problem because it has a poor waste infrastructure. And for the first time, we're going to use technology so that we can transform the waste management system, not only in Kenya, but the whole of Africa. We are aligning ourselves with SDG 12 and 13 of sustainable cities and communities, and also climate action.
You've just answered my next question, which was, why do you think we need a smart waste system? But you've answered that. So why do you feel like the smart bin is the future of recycling?
So recycling at the moment relies on people we call chokoras, who walk into landfills, who walk in our streets to collect the recyclable waste, take it to a middleman so that the middle person can collect volumes, and then the middleman sells it to recyclers. What recyclers are facing, it's the inconsistency of supply of these waste resources. What we're doing with the smart bin is providing a sustainable and consistent supply of raw materials, and secondly, it's not contaminated compared to the waste that is taken to landfills mixed with organics, with diapers, with electronics. For us, we're sorting at source and delivering high quality waste resources to recyclers and manufacturers.
So how many smart bins do you have so far in the country?
So far we have 2 working smart bins, one at Multimedia University and the other it's right here at Coca-Cola. So people at Coca-Cola will be able to bring their plastics from home, drop them in our bin and earn points that they can redeem either at the cafeteria or at the staff shop.
What's your target for the next year?
Well, in the next year, we plan to build 350 bins, which will be spread out in the cities Nairobi, Kisumu, Mombasa, and Nakuru. We're going to set up our bins where people can bring their waste and make money from it. Then in the next 5 years, we're going to solve this waste problem in Kenya. We're going to expand to East Africa, and hopefully by our 5th year of operation, we'll be serving across Africa.
What motivated you to come up with this idea, the smart bin?
Okay, the inspiration for the smart bin came from the community that I live in. I live next to the Dandora dam site, and I've seen men, women, sometimes even children walking into the landfill scavenging for things that they can sell to make a living. That's when it hit me, what if we could do this all over Kenya, whereby people are actually disposing of the recyclables in a central point where recyclers can just come and pick it, instead of sending it to the environment and have chokoras or people who, the low income earners walking around and collecting this waste. So the idea was we come up with a smart bin where people can come, drop off their recyclables, they get paid for that waste, and from the smart bin we're able to collect recyclables in large volumes that recyclers can come, collect and pay the value of that waste.
Now that you're targeting to create 350 bins next year, do you feel like the 2 bins you have at the moment have met some of the requirements or some of the goals you had set when you were starting to create this before you scale it up to 350 bins?
Well, we've seen that mentality shift. So we've been doing a pilot here at Coca-Cola, and staff are actually motivated to hold on to their plastic at home. So we find some of them have a gunia where they put in all their plastic waste for like a week. Then they come, drop it in the smart bin, and they get paid for that waste. So there's that cultural sense of people see value in the PETs. So by scaling it up to the 4 cities in Kenya, we'll have the cultural shift. People will just not throw plastic bottles outside their car windows. They will hold on to it because they know they can get paid for that waste. When we're scaling up, we want to incentivize proper waste disposal. We want to have the cultural shift, and more importantly, we need to have an impact in the environment.
What does it take to come up with a smart bin? From the technical aspect of it, to the physical labor, to the transportation, what does it take?
Well, starting out, we did everything ourselves. I have a team that works on the wiring, one that acts on the fabrication, the design. So in our first prototype, we built everything ourselves, from actually welding the metal, putting it together, from assembling the sensors and all. But after building 7 prototypes, we've gotten to a point where my team simply works on the electronics and the wiring. We contract the building of the frame, all that metal work, to an independent contractor. So we're also creating jobs. And once we build the electronic part, we just mount it on the bin and we make it smart. The cost for the electronic components is 15 to 20,000. Then the physical container that holds that waste varies depending on the size a client needs. So our base price for a smart bin is 30,000, and depending on the size that we're going for, it can be between 30 to 50,000, including transportation cost.
While situating your beans in multimedia and in Coca-Cola, how did people perceive it at first?
Yeah. Well, at first people are intrigued with how the technology works, where you can just key in your ID or you scan your QR code for the bin to open, and when you put in your waste, you get some points that you can actually redeem for money. So we find that people want to be part of this technology change, and in addition to that, the fact that people can make money from their waste, we see people adopting the system much better and quick.
Nice. I would really like to know, like, how was it when you were approaching the organizations so that you can set up the bins here, like Coca-Cola? Was it easy? Was it hard? How was it?
Okay, well, getting an audience with a big brand like Coca-Cola, it all happened because they saw the vision. So we were demonstrating the bin in one of these summits, and they saw how it works. So the idea that people can incentivize their plastic disposal got us that audience or the platform to pilot our bin here. So now we're having this organization being part of this cultural change, the cultural fit. Our go-to-market is institutions and organizations. So getting to a multimedia university was easy because I schooled there. Then piloting at Coca-Cola, it proves that the concept does work. So going forward, we'll be pitching to more institutions, more organizations, and we are working with the Kajiado County government so that you can have a pilot in one of their estates.
For the recycling companies that get these bottles, how do they get the information that the bottle, the smart bins needs to be emptied? Or do you have a way of communicating to them, or do they have something that automatically tells them the smart bin is full, you have to come for it, or how does it work?
Well, we've talked to some recyclers, and in our sales pipeline, we approach a recycler, onboard them to our platform, and they get notified whenever the bin is full. So we have a sensor inside that notifies us that the bin is full, and once we onboard a recycler to our system, they also get that SMS or an email that the bin is full and this is the quantity of plastic waste that needs to be emptied. So once they get the notification, they just come, empty the bin and pay the value of that waste.
Thank you so much for making time for us. This is a really nice idea, and if you believe in a cleaner environment, this is the way to go.